Last week, Hyundai revealed to us the remaining information we've been waiting for about the upcoming 2025 Ioniq 5, that being pricing, trim levels, and some charging details. But there were a lot of other details that we didn't get from that press release. Now, thanks to an article written by Inside EVs, we now have a lot more details about how Superchargers are going to work with the 2025 Ioniq 5. So if you guys want to find out all the details, then stay tuned. But first, I want to tell you guys about the Ioniq Guy Cars and Coffee event. It was a great event. We had huge turnout. There were at least 75 people. We had about 40 cars. We had almost every model from Hyundai, Kia, Genesis. We had the Ioniq 5, obviously, Ioniq 6. We had Kia Niro EV. We had Kona EV, EV9, EV6, electrified G80. It was so cool to see all of them in one place. You're going to see some drone footage here. Shout out to Aaron, another Ioniq 5 owner, for getting these drone shots for me. We did raffles. We had coffee and donuts. We had apple cider and donuts from my family's apple farm in Connecticut. A lot of good conversation with some really cool people. We had people come from Montreal, New Jersey. Some people flew in from Utah, which is really cool. 3 hours absolutely flew by. And then people got to take their cars out on the track. They had a lot of fun doing laps at Palmer Motorsports Park. Beautiful track. It was a little cold that day. Hopefully next time we do it, it'll be a little bit warmer out. I am really looking forward to the next one. It was a great time. Thank you to everyone who came out and made for an awesome event. All right, so let's talk about the new Ioniq 5 and how it will work with Superchargers. Apparently, Hyundai had a press briefing with some journalists a few weeks ago. Inside EVs was there and they wrote a good article about it. They talked to some engineers and got some of the finer details. So the first thing here is something we learned last week with the other press release, and that is that at a Supercharger, the new Ioniq 5 will be able to charge from 10 to 80% in about 30 minutes. For some reason, the Inside EVs article is saying 29 minutes, but the official Hyundai press release said 30 minutes. But either way, it's basically in the same ballpark. And what's enabling this 29 or 30 minute charge time from 10 to 80% at Superchargers is the fact that your max charging rate now at a Supercharger is going to be 135 kilowatts versus existing Ioniq 5, EV6, the other eGMP cars. When they pull up right now, they're going to see about 99 kilowatts max. So Hyundai has improved their charging speed when they are boosting the voltage from 400 to 800 volts for these cars. And one of their engineering managers for propulsion and charging states that there are some differences in the battery design where we're able to charge at higher current. And this number kind of jives what an insider at Hyundai told me probably a year ago now, that theoretically these cars can charge at Superchargers at about 135 kilowatts. Now, something I find really funny is that in this article, they state that Model Y charges from 10 to 80% in about 27 minutes. And I did watch some other YouTubers 10 to 80% testing. Brandon Flash has a video with his newer Model Y, and that did 10 to 80% in 32 minutes. So Ioniq 5, even boosting the voltage, is still beating out its own native cars on its own network. So that is really cool to see. I think that's hilarious. Tesla seems to have really dropped the ball with charging. They've had years and years and years of experience now, and they really haven't improved their charging almost at all. Meanwhile, you have Ioniq 5, the new kid on the block, come in and do it in 18 minutes. I honestly just think that's embarrassing for Tesla. Now, you might be saying 29 or 30 minutes, that still sucks compared to Electrify America, and you're completely right, but you can still use your CCS adapter and go charge an Electrify America or an EVgo station and get full charging speeds. And with the new Ioniq 5, it's upwards of 257 kilowatts. Unfortunately, even though the charging speed has gone up from about 240, 245 to 257, it is now 2 minutes longer to charge from 10 to 80% at one of these high-powered stations. So unfortunately, you can no longer say it takes under 20 minutes to charge 10 to 80%. That number is now exactly 20 minutes. All right, so you're going to go charge at a Supercharger. What can you expect? Well, first things first, try and pick the best charging spot at the station to alleviate any congestion due to taking up 2 spots. So what I've seen online so far is that if you're going to use a supercharger with a non-native port location like a Tesla, choose the rightmost station, park as far away from it as possible while still being able to plug in, even if you're outside of the parking lines, because this is then not going to clog up the rest of the stalls with your car, and it's not going to cascade down the line and then cause multiple stations to not be accessible by other drivers. Obviously, if there are parking spots on the backside of the chargers that the cable could reach to, that's probably an even more ideal situation. But based on what I've seen with Supercharger sites, I don't think that's probably going to be possible considering just how short their cables are. Now, this won't be a problem going forward as Tesla starts swapping out their older style stations for the new V4 stations with the longer cable. These can reach either side of the car, not a problem. So you've picked your spot, you undo the handle, you plug it into your car. Now, how are you going to activate this charging session? Well, with current version 3 Superchargers that don't have a credit card terminal on them, your only option is going to be through the Tesla app on your phone, through an Android phone or an iPhone. And this is because Hyundai says that plug-in charge just isn't ready. It's still half-baked. They have not rolled it out, so that's not going to be available at launch, but it is something that they are working on. So hopefully in the near future, you'll be able to just pull up, plug in the car, and it will communicate to Tesla that payment is made and you can start charging. So in regard to this, Ian Tupper from Hyundai says we're working on all these integration pieces to make that possible. At the start, our owners of the model year 25 Ioniq 5 will have to use the Tesla app to charge, but we're also adding the charging feature to the Hyundai app as well. So you could potentially use the Hyundai app. Me personally, having a lot of experience with the Hyundai app, I would probably take the Tesla app. It's probably going to be quicker. It's probably going to initiate payment much faster. So personally, until I try it, I would just say go with the Tesla app for now. So you're plugged in, you're hopefully charging, and now you're going to wait 29 or 30 minutes if you're going to 80%. So after that, unplug and you're off to the races. Now, I know there's a lot of you who have strong feelings about Tesla and you don't want anything to do with it. That's perfectly fine. There has never been a better time in American history to charge an EV than today. And that is because there are so many new sites going live on basically a daily basis. So I recently shared some photos on my Facebook group of Ioniq charging station installations that are basically ready to go live any day now. And these are located all over the US. There's some in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Texas. There's these big rechargery stations, they're calling them, going in North Carolina, which is close to Raleigh-Durham where their headquarters are. So it makes sense that they're putting their kind of flagship location right near there. But these stations look awesome. I love the branding. I love the teal and the orange. It just looks so good in my opinion. And these stations are going to have both CCS connectors, NACS connectors for the new 2025s. They're putting them at smart locations. Specifically, it looks like they have some sort of deal with Sheetz, the gas station chain. So these are going to be at big, fully operational gas stations that aren't closed at night. You'll be able to use the bathroom. There's going to be garbage cans, window washing cleaner. So hopefully as time goes on, Ioniq is going to keep spreading. They got the backing of all these major automakers, unlike Electrify America. So I can only imagine that it's going to get better and you're going to have to rely even less on superchargers. I emailed Ioniq to find out when the station in Scranton, Pennsylvania might be going live because I'm going down to Philadelphia for Thanksgiving. So if it's live, I might make that my charging stop to get down to Philly. It's a little out of the way, but I really want to check out these stations and test out these new Alpitronic hyperchargers that just look like really good, reliable stations. I've only heard good things about them. And then, of course, there's other charging going in like Pilot Flying J, GM Energy charging stations, beautiful stations with canopies over them. They basically look like gas stations. They are pull through, so if you've got a trailer, you can pull on up. Easy peasy. I just wanted to say this because if you don't want to use superchargers, you don't have to use superchargers. There's always more options coming online. So what do you guys think about this whole supercharger situation for Ioniq 5? But anyway, if you guys liked today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Check out my store at ioniqguy.com for accessories for your Hyundai, Kia, or Genesis EV. I've got my door lock module, which automatically locks your doors after 10 seconds when they've all been shut. This is a feature that Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis cars do not have. If you'd like to help support the Ioniq Guy channel, you can do so for as little as 99 cents per month. I have 3 levels of channel membership. Eco mode, normal mode, and sport mode. Normal mode is $2.99 per month, and with that, you'll gain early access to all of my videos before anybody else. You'll also get 5% off anything from my store. Sport mode for $9.99 per month, you will get 25% off anything from my store. This is one of the best ways to help support the channel directly, and I really appreciate all my existing members. You guys are awesome. But as always, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.